What's up, wrestling fans? This is Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth. Um, I got another video for y'all tonight, and it's Survivor Series related. It's Survivor Series time. It's that time of the year. I know the event really has went down from what it once was in the beginning, uh, which I think really sucks. I think it sucks that they got away from the elimination matches. I think the Survivor Series should have always been like that years after, I don't know why they always did away with them. Now we're going to have one, maybe two. I always thought it was stupid how they just made it into another pay-per-view, basically. Um, but I got 10. What I did is took, these are my top 10 matches from the first 10 Survivor Series. I picked one from every year except 96. I almost didn't pick one from 93, but I went ahead and put one on here anyway. Also, by the way, to the wrestling world, these are in no particular order. These are just 10, my favorite 10. It would have been too hard to have broke it down like that. But here are my favorite 10 matches from the first 10 years of the Survivor Series. We're going to start out in Cleveland, 1987. I felt, in my opinion, that the best match that night. Yeah, I know everybody's going to say it was the main event with Andre in it. But in my opinion, the best match was Harley Race, Hercules, the referee Danny Davis, Ron Bass, and the Honky Tonk Man versus Ricky Steamboat, Brutus Beefcake, Jake Roberts, Jim Duggan, and the Macho Man. I can't really remember it. This may have been the opening match of that, but I just remember it being a high-paced, a really good, just a really good match, man, all around. A lot of times in the old days, you would look on paper and you would see guys' names on there, and you'd be like, it ain't really, probably ain't nothing. But then you'd sit back and watch it, and you forget how great guys used to work compared to today. But that's my favorite match from 1987. Let's move on to 1988. It was also in Ohio. It wasn't in Cleveland. I can't really remember where it was at. But my favorite match on that night was the main event. It was the main event. It was Hogan and Macho Man, Hercules, Hillbilly Jim, and Koko B. Ware. Wow, that's a weird combination of a team, man. Versus the Big Boss Man, Hakeem the African Dream, who always makes me laugh. The Red Rooster Terry Taylor, Haku, and the $1 Million Man. I never really hear anybody talk about this match, but it was a main event and a very good Survivor Series all around. But this match, this was the Mega Pirates time. They were sole survivors of this match. It was just really a good mix, of work. Haku, $1 Million Man, Boss Man. Terry Taylor always, I thought, was an underrated guy. They made him really stupid, though, when he went to the WWF, and even though you had Hillbilly Jim and Koko B. Ware, Hercules was a stiff as fuck, but to me, it was just a classic match. Number 3 comes from Chicago, Illinois, 1989. My favorite match on that night, and 89 is also my favorite Survivor Series of all time, by the way, was the $1 Million Team versus the Hulkamaniacs. The $1 Million Team consists of course, the $1 Million Man, Zeus, Debo, and the Powers of Pain versus Hulk Hogan, Jake the Snake, and Demolition. This was a very, very good match. Of course, Hogan went on to survive. He battled DiBiase. I believe it was DiBiase in the finals. It might have been Barbarian. I'm not real sure. But I just remember it being a really good match. Like I said, 89 was one of my favorites. Then we go into number 4 from Hartford, Connecticut, 1990 Survivor Series. The Dream Team versus the $1 Million Team, and it's also the debut of The Undertaker. I thought that match was really cool, seeing the debut of The Undertaker. Also, the last 2 guys in this match are Bret Hart and $1 Million Man, and they put on a wrestling clinic, something we don't see anymore. Was very good, very, very, very fresh. Both men could wrestle any kind of way you wanted them to. They were hard workers, and this was the day after Bret Hart's brother Dean had died. And yeah, number 4. Excuse me. Number 4, all-time favorite, is the Dream Team versus the $1 Million Team with the debut of The Undertaker. Other people on that team, on the Dream Team, were Dusty Rhodes, Koko B. Ware, and the Hart Foundation. And then on the $1 Million Team, you had DiBiase, Rhythm and Blues, Bill Valentine, and Honky Tonk Man, and the debut of The Undertaker. Number 5. Now, 91 was the first year that we actually seen a singles match at the Survivor Series. Always had been elimination matches. They had some that year, but I got my favorite match from 91, and it had to be on my top 10 list, was Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker for the WWF Championship. It was just a great match. And Ric Flair interfered. And it's really one of the first times we've seen Hogan get defeated, But I just thought it was cool to see The Undertaker win the title and finally see a heel leave the Survivor Series, on top. And I thought that was really cool. But 1991 from Detroit, Michigan, WWF Championship, Hulk Hogan versus Undertaker. Number 6, 1992, also comes from Ohio. It's another singles match, and it's a match that's overshadowed by the Montreal Screwjob. But if you go back to 1992 and watch the WWF Championship match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, it is a very, very good match. I definitely had to put this on. It's a match that's never talked about. But if you go back to the 92 Survivor Series and watch Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, it's a pretty damn good match, and I definitely had to put it on my list. Alright, let's see. Number 7, come from Boston. It's one I wasn't real sure about if I should put on this list. I put it on here anyway. It's from 1993. It's from Boston, Massachusetts. It's the All-Americans versus the Foreign Fanatics. Wasn't really one of the greatest matches of all time. But, I really dug it. I've always been a fan of Steiner. I've always been a fan of Undertaker. Um, it was a good concept at the time in '93. You know, the Foreigners versus the All Americans. Decent match. You know, pretty much everybody in the match could work except Luger. And if I think, yeah, but yeah. Anyway, '93 Survivor Series kind of sucked. It did suck. There wasn't no kind of to it. Um, Number 8, 1994. We got another singles match. It's for the WWF Championship. It is Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund. If you're a wrestling fan, you should have enjoyed this match very much so, because it was a technically sound match from the beginning to the end, and then you had the outside drama with Owen Hart and Helen Hart, and she threw in the towel for Bret, you know. But yeah, that was definitely one of the greatest matches ever in Survivor Series history. I don't care what you say. If you sit back and watch it, they just wrestled. Number 9 comes from Washington, D.C., 1995. It's the Survivor Series wild card elimination match. What they did is it's 4-on-4. You have 3 heels and a face. And you have 3 faces and a heel. Excuse me. It was a very cool concept, and it was a very cool match. It was Owen Hart, Yokozuna, Dean Douglas, Razor Ramon versus Bulldog, Sid, Ahmed, and HBK. This match was I just liked the way it was so action packed and so undetermined. You know, you didn't know anything that was going to happen. You knew some crazy shit was going to happen. Shawn Michaels and Ahmed Johnson ended up being the sole survivors that year. But I think it was a great match, a very underrated match that never gets talked about. But that was number 9. And the 10th and last one also comes from the 1995 Survivor Series. It is for the WWF Championship. It is Diesel versus Bret Hart. This is when Diesel turns heel once more. Bret Hart gives Diesel the best match of one of the best matches of his fucking career, probably. Not to bash Nash, but he didn't have a whole lot of moves. I remember Bret Hart going through the table. It's one of the first times I've ever seen Hitman go through the table, and I just really enjoyed it. Those are my 10, my opinion, my favorite 10 matches from the first 10 years of the Survivor Series. I wish, I wish they would go back to that format. Those are some great times in wrestling. The original Survivor Series, but I'll be back with another video here in a little bit, giving you my Survivor Series predictions. But thanks for checking in, and subscribe, guys. And like I always say, no matter what you do, get your money and pay your damn bills. Peace.